everyone, it's Shannon, and today I'm going to take you up into my woods and see what kind of maple sap we can collect. We have about 5 buckets, just tapping 5 trees up there, and every day or so we try to go up and see what we got. And I'll just show you real quick how we do our maple syruping here. So let's go see.
So first we take these 5-gallon pails up to the woods. And across the road we have a whole bunch of woods and a bunch of maple trees. Sugar maples are the best. So the kids are helping me today and we are collecting the sap. You can see there's the sap that we get, and all we have to do is just collect it in these 5-gallon pails. It takes about 40 gallons of sap to make 1 gallon of syrup. So we figured out that one of these 5-gallon pails actually makes about 1 pint of syrup. Some days the trees produce a lot of sap and some days they produce less. The best is when there's really cold nights and really warm days, and that just really gets the sap flowing. This year we're just tapping a few trees. We only actually have 5 taps, 5 different trees we're tapping over here, and every day we have to come out and collect it. So it's not too bad when you have the kids helping. Just one more bucket we're collecting here. So here we are, we brought the bucket back with the sap, and we're pouring it into a big kettle that we put on our wood stove. So we'll let that sort of simmer on the wood stove. This is what heats our house, this big wood stove here in our kitchen. And that'll simmer, and then we take from that kettle, we'll dump it into a smaller pot like this, and we will then put that boiling on our regular stove. That'll boil down, and we'll have to put more sap into it after a while as it boils down. Here I'm getting the components ready. We need a measuring cup and a funnel, a sieve with some cheesecloth. And what I do is I strain it twice. I'm going to strain it into that cup, measuring cup, and then at the end I will strain it again through the cheesecloth into the pint jar. And there's our sap. It's boiling way down and starting to look more like syrup. Once it looks a lot like syrup, I start to test it out. I'll put a little bit on a plate and sort of roll the plate around. It's very hot, so you have to let it cool and roll it around. It's boiling down more now. We're going to test it again and see. It wasn't quite to the right consistency before, so let's see this time if it's starting to look a little bit thicker. That looks like this feels like the right consistency to me. So I'm going to take it off and strain it. Got lots of little bitty pieces of things in there. That's just because it's very natural. It's right from the trees. hoping to fill a volume of 2 cups or close to it if I don't get quite 2 cups, because I'm going to be using this pint container. So obviously it takes a while to go through the cheesecloth. So now I'm going to place this funnel with the sieve, the cheesecloth that I have rinsed out, and I've got it over my pint jar here. And here is the maple syrup I've got. Maple syrup can be dark or light. If you look at this maple syrup, it's quite a bit lighter than this maple syrup. And I think it's something to do with when you get it from the tree. This is my later, the sap I harvested later. So I'm just gonna filter this through. And you can almost hear the sound rattling in the background. That's my wood stove, where I have a big canning pot full of sap that's still simmering. I just like to sieve it through the cheesecloth twice, because I do get so much natural debris in mine sometimes, and that I want to make sure I get out all the little particles. And here you have it. I'm gonna put the lid on now, making sure that this rim is totally dry. The syrup is now hot enough that it will seal. Just pressing down that rubber edge. It will seal as it cools, so it doesn't need to get boiled in a canning bath. There we have our jar of maple syrup. That I can add to the other jars, and you can see the difference. Some of them are lighter and some are darker. That's a pretty dark one. And of course at the end you can take a little rubber spatula and get out some of the good remaining bits of your maple syrup. I know this didn't go through the cheesecloth, but I'm not too worried. Really good. Nothing like good homemade maple syrup. Thanks for watching, everybody.
We've never done that before. Wow, okay.
How do I normally do this?
You don't normally pour it when it's that big, I don't think.
It's like scalding hot.
I'm just-